they believed that they were going to, and this is kind of one of those things that it's still to this day being decoded, actually. And you could argue for hours that it is possible to make the Philosopher's Stone. They just haven't found the right method yet. And you can find about 100 different ways that different alchemists have tried to make the Philosopher's Stone. And every single one of them involves taking any basic element and trying to break it down and boil it, burn it, and keep it at like very stable temperatures. And they would just keep trying to synthesize these things into different metals. Truth is none of these ways have worked. And I'm not an expert in a specific route that one of these individuals would take. I'm more so of an expert in the spiritual side of the journey, because it aligns with most religious beliefs in the journey of like healing in the self, right? So it's a bit more easier to explain the symbolism, but the actual chemistry of it is super complex, and I cannot offer a sound reason for the many different ways they tried to break these things down. There's some ridiculous ones. I've even heard of an individual trying to boil a metal with their own piss and trying to synthesize a new metal that way. They succeeded and made something else that we still use to this day, but we don't use urine. We use a highly acidic water like solution to do that these days. But it's just, if you dig deep enough, you'll find a few fascinating stories about individuals trying to do this.
So what are some other things maybe that alchemists started like that and discovered maybe inadvertently or advertently?
They've discovered quite a few metals we use to this day. Like there's a finer steel that we use today that's all around us. It's used on a modern level. Most of our like prescription medications all originate from this line of work, right? Like they're the ones that synthesized a lot of like the painkillers way back in the day. They were the ones that were doing their herbal remedies long before New Age people got into it and it started to be popularized. And it's quite fascinating how there was like these two parties that developed in like the 19th century. There was the alchemists that worked in the snake oils like environment, and then there's these big and upcoming pharmaceutical companies that are pushing like cocaine, heroin, several different kinds of like big drugs that were highly addictive and were being used throughout the Civil War. But I think you get the idea is that there was this huge split, and it seemed like almost like there was this propaganda around herbal remedies that was kind of pushed at this time period. But you can still find grandparents out there that practice alchemy and don't even know it. So you can look just around any medicine cabinet, any garden, and find a very valuable resource that alchemists offered us.
What are some daily ways we'd find alchemy in our lives?
It's again, it's everywhere. Like, you can have teas. There are plenty of teas out there. There's you can make tinctures, essential oils you can make from home. I'm not an expert in metallurgy. Metallurgy is something different. I'm now learning herbology more so these days. So I'm in the beginner routes. So I wouldn't have any too grand of recommendations, but I do promise that alchemy is a lot more mundane than people really think. So all the examples I have to give are pretty mundane. In their day-to-day life, we all actually practice alchemy in some way and just don't realize it.